Aren't those transitions cool? Hey, everybody, how we doing? It is time to do our live stream here. Every other week we're doing a free live stream here on our YouTube channel, NUX Audio and the Pedal Guy as well. So if you're visiting us from any of those channels, welcome. I'm glad to see you here. Hope you're having a great week, and I hope you're ready to learn because we got some cool stuff to talk about today. We're going to be talking about imaging with the MG50Li, and I've got a great pedal here that we're going to do our demonstration with, and I think you'll really get something out of this. And we're also going to go ahead and use the image app, and I'll show you how all that works. And more importantly, I'll show you how to image properly and bring it into the MG50Li. And when you hear the results, you're going to be absolutely 100% astonished. I promise you. It's going to be a lot of fun. So before we get started, I see we got several people joining us now. Welcome, welcome. If you got questions, please do me a favor. Actually, let me point that direction because that's where you'll see it on the chat window. Use the chat section of the live stream over there to let me know what you'd like to know more about. I'll be watching all of the questions, and as we finish up for the day, I will be more than happy to go ahead and answer whatever questions we receive. So this will be a good opportunity for you to learn about imaging. So let's talk about what imaging is. Because we've heard all of the different terminologies and all the different names thrown around. Everybody's got their name for it, but the it, of course, is profiling. So when we're profiling, we are essentially sampling the amplifier or the stomp box that we're going to emulate. And we're going to then use, in our case, our image technology, where we are recording and capturing that sample. And then what we're doing is we're applying black box modeling algorithms to emulate every turn of the knob so that everything is 100% accurate and authentic. And it sounds like smoke and mirrors, it sounds like snake oil, but after doing it a few times here, I have to tell you, I am damn impressed. It is very, very cool. I think it's going to be a fantastic technology that is going to be embraced. And I'm just thinking about what it will look like 5 years from now when we have this this technology even further developed. Just think about the kind of things that'll happen as a result of that. It's just going to be hot stuff. So as a reminder, everybody, please, if you have questions, use the chat, whether you're on the Pedal Guy YouTube channel or whether you're on the NUX Audio YouTube channel, and let me know what questions you might have. And at some point, we'll try to go vertical as well and do a multi-stream out to Instagram and see if we can get some of those followers to sound off and let us know what they'd like to know more about with the 50Li. So let's talk about the premise of an image versus a deep image. And we'll just do that very quickly so that I can get into the demonstration here. So let me know in the chat window if anybody uses a sampler or if they use any of the modern drum machines. I'm not talking about well, I could be talking about a software sampler, but if you're using a software sampler, whether you're using a software or hardware drum machine that's modern, sound off and let me know, because some of the terminology I'm going to use here relates to both sides of the equation. So in the case of imaging, so we have two flavors of imaging that are available to you with the 50Li. One is just a standard image. Now, a standard image is just simply a single snapshot or a single sample of the pedal, or actually in this case, the amp. You can make a single pass and sample of the amp, and then you can export that directly into the 50Li. The other way is through what's called deep imaging. And with deep imaging, we're using multi-layers, multi-captures of the effect at different amplitude levels, so that when the modeling algorithms take over and it wants to emulate every turn of that knob, it's doing it with the most accurate depiction, the most accurate picture, an example, if you will. So in a sampler's term, it's exactly like a multi-layered sample. For example, if you play a sample from, say, a modern sampler of, like, say, a piano is not going to sound the same when you plunk the key a little bit versus when you really smack the key. There's going to be a different tonality. There's going to be a different sound to it. And so what we do in the sampling world is we do multiple layer of samples so that at every velocity curve, we're reproducing the piano as accurately as possible. It's the same thing with the drum machine. A snare drum sounds very different between a soft hit and then really whacking it. And that's the exact same idea that I'm going to be demonstrating here. So with the deep image, we're doing exactly the same thing. We are sampling this pedal that we're going to do, and we're going to sample it at multiple amplitude levels so that you will get the most accurate representation of the pedal. And again, I know it sounds like a bunch of snake oil, and it sounds like this couldn't possibly be true, but it actually is. It's very, very cool. So let me just show you what we're going to be doing here today as far as the sampler goes for the deep image demonstration here. So I'm going to be using a Lounsbury Amp Rescue. Now this is an amazing pedal. I have a great relationship with Greg Lounsbury, and perhaps you guys might know some of his other pedals like the Organ Grinder or the Tall and Fat, which are extremely popular. And this pedal is what this pedal is a multi-gain stage preamp pedal. And the idea of this particular pedal is that you could plug this in to any horrible sounding amp and you can make it sound better. That's why it's called Amp Rescue. But he also makes one called the Organ Grinder, which works really well with keyboards. He has a Tall and Fat, which is a clean boost that's just utterly amazing. And he has, of course, plenty of guitar overdrive pedals, including this one here. In fact, you could probably just use this pedal as a preamp and then go into an impulse response, and you'd get a pretty decent sound out of it. So this is very cool stuff. I see somebody's in Maryland. Hello, welcome. Welcome to the madness. Welcome to the fun. Here we are. Oh, India. Hi. How are you? You're a long way from home. And anyway, or I'm a long way from you. So what we're going to do is we are going to sample this pedal in a deep image. And we're going to replicate that and load it into the 50Li, and you're going to see and hear exactly what's possible. So without further ado, let's stop talking and let's start sampling here. So I am going to go, let's see, I'm going to go get my guitar really quick because that always helps when we're going to do a demonstration like this. Now you don't need your guitar with you while you do this demonstration, while you do the sampling, but it sure sounds a lot better when you can actually hear what's going on. So let me turn my guitar on. I'm using a C5RC, of course. You can see that right there at the top of the screen. We got somebody from North Carolina. Hello. How are things in Charlotte these days? Haven't been to the Carolinas since I was a boy, so I'm a little out of my sorts over there. Okay, so let me bring up the guitar. Now, we're not hearing anything. Now, the reason we're not hearing anything is because I've activated image. So if I go back to the top level, there we go. Now, in this case, so you know, you're actually hearing the pedal as it is right now. So for example, if I turn the drive up, so you get a really, really nice meaty sound out of it. But what we would do in this case is, we have a lot of people showing up here. Okay, great. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But if we want to start sampling, what we would do here is, let's see, we're seeing some funny stuff here from the chat. Pardon me. There we go. Okay. Get our sound back there. Now, if we want to start imaging, what we need to do is hit the image button here, which is right under the encoder. And once we do that, we're now in image mode. At this point, we want to switch over to the app, which is, as you can see, to my right. And with the app, and what's really great about this when you first boot it up is that it will give you kind of a quick start here. So it tells you how to make the connections. Now, you're probably wondering, why are we not doing an amp first? Okay, well, there is a reason why we're not doing the amp. And the main reason is because I don't have a load box yet. But I do have a load box coming in the next day. Actually, it's showing up today. And the load box is going to allow me to actually demonstrate how to image an amp as well. So I figured the best way to start is let's start with a pedal first because it's pretty simple and straightforward to do. But the results will speak for themselves. So when you first boot up the image app, this startup window will come out. If you want, you can just click the do not show at startup just to help you along. But it's a few slides here. So this is how you would do it for a pedal. This is how you create an image and how to create a deep image. And of course, I'm going to show you how to do all of that right now anyway. But let's take a look at the interface here. So it's quite simple and straightforward. We have our reference point on the far right. We have our monitor and phones. This is where we will listen back to things. We have the go button. Now don't press that until you're ready to start sampling. And below that, we have the gain control, the volume control. We also have the listen. So if I turn that on right now, now you're probably wondering, why is the amplitude so low? Well, that's because I haven't played, you're not hearing the amp or anything else inside of the 50Li, you're just hearing the pedal by itself. And that's all I need to say about that for now. And you have the import button. Now, we don't have to import anything right now, but you have a couple of other options here. You have the deep image, which I'm going to show you in a minute. You have the NAM loader, so you can load NAM files into the 50Li from this app, and then you can load it right into the device if you'd like to. And it also tells you, of course, which device you're using, and you can load into the device or you can delete from the device. So you can use this to manage your NAM files or your deep image files. Either way, it's no problem at all. But let's go over to the settings. because this is something that you definitely need to be aware of before you start doing the imaging. So you want to make sure that you've got channel 1 and channel 2 selected for your outputs, channel 1 and channel 2 selected for your inputs. I was figuring all of this out before, and I wasn't getting where I needed to go. So I did this thing called reading the manual, and the manual showed me the best option. Sometimes I have to say I get a little ahead of myself and I end up not actually reading the manual, and I'd rather just figure it out myself. But this was one of those moments where I had to reference back to the manual, and it gives you a demonstration of what the best settings should be. So these are the best settings. Make sure that the audio buffer rate, they are recommending around 256 samples. That means there is latency when you listen to the model and the reference, but you'll see what I mean exactly when we do this. So once we've done that, I'm going to go ahead and close this up. And if I click on the listen button, we can listen back. Okay, so we've got enough amplitude to start here. But now the question is, what do we do with the amplitude of the pedal? Now, this is where I need to, talk to you guys about this, okay? When we're doing a pedal cannot be imaged on one level with the current version of the software right now. You need to create a deep image of the pedal. So again, please listen to what I'm saying. When you're creating an image of a pedal, it needs to be a deep image, not a single layer, because that will not work. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean right now by a deep image. We're going to create a deep image of this pedal. You're going to love this, guys. This is so much fun. So I am going to go to the pedal. We're going to create multiple passes. And I'm just going to do 3 for this demonstration, but I've already created a deep image of this pedal. And I'll show you a demonstration of the A and B of that after I'm done here. But this is for the purpose of just teaching you how to actually create the deep image itself. So we're going to do a simplified version of it here, and then I'll show you what the actual results are when you do this. You can actually layer up to 11 samples within a deep image. So 11 images within a deep image. So what we would do is this. I'm going to do 3 captures. I'm going to do one at 9 o'clock. I'm going to do one at 12 o'clock. And I'm going to do one all the way up to 10. So it's a little bit over the top. You could go to 3 o'clock if you like, but I just want to get all the way up there for my final sample. So I'm going to turn the drive all the way down to 9 o'clock. I'm going to keep the level nominal. I'm going to keep the level right at 12 o'clock. I'm not going to do anything with it because I don't want to goose the amplitude. Every capture, the amplitude needs to be the same. So again, listen, the amplitude needs to be the same for best results. Trust me on this. All right, now I've got it there. Okay, I've got it there. I'm going to switch over to the app, and I've got the go button. I'm ready to go. So here we go. Click, and there we go. We start sampling. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to start sending test tones through the app. As you can see that on the right with the phones. Now, you're not hearing it, thank God, to blow your ears off. It takes about a minute or so to create an image file, after which I'm then going to export it as a single image file. I'm going to do another pass as a second image, and then a third pass. And I want you to pay very, very, very close attention to the nomenclature, the naming of the file, because this will drive you crazy if you don't do it right. So do please pay attention as I'm making these changes, okay? It's for your benefit so that you don't have to tear your hair out of your head, because you see that I already did that. So in this case, this is going to give you a good, solid tutorial, and it will make so much sense, I promise. So here it is. We're almost there. 85%. I can hardly wait. Anybody catch the World Cup last night? Turkey beat US. That was something else. Okay, there we are at the top. Now we have reference. So this is the original. This is the model. Okay, so I know it's a little hard to hear that, so let me turn the volume up on my guitar channel here really quick, so you can hear what I am hearing. Reference. Capture. Now I want you to put on a good pair of headphones, and I want you to re-listen to that. One more time, guys. Reference. Model. What else can you say except, oh yeah. Anyway, that is what it is. That is what it is. So we have created the first image file. I hope that has got you salivating. It is so cool. Watching France versus Norway. All right, there you go. Good. I hope that game's going well. I haven't watched this much football in a long time. I'm going to go ahead and export this now as an image file. So I'm going to hit the export button. I'm going to go to the destination that I want chosen, which is going to be, the downloads folder on my Mac, and I'm going to call it pedal. Now remember, _0. You have to follow this nomenclature. If you don't, it won't work. Hit save. Okay, so now we've got the second one. Now, I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to turn it to 12 o'clock. I'm going to come back to the app. I'm going to hit back and I'm going to go again. So now I'm going to capture the second wave of this image. So this is going to be the second one. It's going to sound remarkably different than the first one because remember, the first one was a capture with the drive at 3 o'clock. So it's not going to be that gritty. It's going to be almost to the point where it's breaking up just a little bit, but not to the point where it's like, oh yeah, that's really out there. But no, this is going to be something very, very different. So there you go. Okay, so I got a question about, is there a Windows version of the MG? Yeah, of course, it's already there. It's on the website for you to download now. So you're okay to go there. What I really also like about it is the Bluetooth connectivity with my iPad and my phone. It's amazing. It makes life so much easier when I'm editing. If you watch any of the past couple of live streams where I've used it, it's just made my life so much easier when I'm doing these demonstrations for everybody. And yeah, I absolutely love it. All right. Are you guys starting to think about what pedals you want to start imaging? I am. So here's the reference. Here's the model. Let me turn that up. Oh, I see somebody's watching from the NUX channel now. And they're helping us out. Thank you very much, guys. Okay, turn that volume up. Here's the reference again. Here's the model. So we are building it. Now, you probably are hearing some of that latency. That's what that whole sampling thing is all about. So let's go ahead and export that. And I'm going to call this 50. So pedal _50. I'm going to hit save. And now I'm going to go back to the pedal and I'm going to turn it all the way up to 10. So we're going to get a totally different sound now. So if I go back and I go back to image, there I are. Okay. Okay, so we're getting a totally different sound there. But I'm going to go ahead and hit go. So go, baby, go. We are going to make the last image capture. There you go. Okay, so somebody's referencing where to find that software. Thank you so very much. We're all one big happy team here at NUX, whether we're talking about Torrance, California, or we're talking about Zhuhai, China, or we're talking about any of our other offices like the one in Dubai, other distributors around the world. We're all one big happy family. So really creating this content for you and also creating this content for them so they can learn how to do all of this stuff. Because it's one of the things about this job that I just love is being able to tear into these products as they come out and The 50Li I didn't really get to until about a month and a half ago. And then after that, I just started really digging on it, man. Okay, there's a question about NAM2, and I will answer that momentarily. We'll answer that down the road here during the live stream. So keep watching and keep using the chat window and keep throwing those questions up there, and we'll answer them for you. Okay, we're almost there. We're almost there. Okay, now we've got the reference of 100%, and now we've got the model. That is amazing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit export, and I am going to now type this in as 100, and there we go. So now we have 3 levels of imaging. We have one at 9 o'clock, we have one at 12 o'clock, and we have one that's turned all the way up to 10. So you could call that what, 5 o'clock if you wanted to. But now it's time to create. So now it's time to create the deep image. Okay. Now let me just actually, before I do that, one thing. I want to make this very, very clear, because somebody's going to do this and they're going to wonder why the hell this isn't working. And I want to be very clear about this with you guys. If you do the image here and you see how the listen button was a load button. If you click on that load button, in fact, I'll just do one right now. Just a really quick pass to demonstrate this, because somebody is going to do this and somebody is going to say, Michael, what the hell? Why didn't you tell us about this? Why isn't this working, man? You're driving me crazy, brother. And you know what? I want to help save you all of that frustration. I don't want you getting mad or frustrated while you're doing that. That's my job. All right. My job is to teach you guys on how to do all of this. So yeah, this is just utterly amazing. And when I load this up into the 50Li, you're going to hear exactly what I'm talking about here. Okay, so here it is. It's going. I should have clicked on that button before to show this to you, but I'm going to do it now because somebody's going to fall into this pitfall, and it's going to be a very frustrating moment for you. And I'm going to save you the headache right now. So we're almost there, guys. 3/4 of the way. Actually captures pretty fast if you think about it. I see some questions about availability of the 50Li, and I will be more than happy to answer those as quickly as I can during the live stream. We'll do that later on. Okay, so at this point now, you can see that the listen button has become a load button. If you click on this, don't do that, okay? Because you can give it a name, but if you look at the type, it only gives you the amp option. Now remember, we're not doing an amp, we're doing a pedal. So if you export this image, this one single level, as an amp, it won't work. It will drive you nuts, okay? So please, please, please don't do that. Just ignore this, don't worry about this. All we want to do is we now want to just capture them and export them. Export them in the multiple layers, then you go over to the deep image. All right, now here's where the fun really starts. So the deep image, let me mute my channels there on my guitar. I'm going to go ahead and select the type of deep image we're going to create. We're going to create a stomp box. And from here, I'm going to select the image files. And this gives you kind of a preloaded stomp box where you've got tone and volume control. And it's very sort of, generic. But here are all 3 of the files. So I'm going to go ahead and select them. I'm going to click it and bring them in. Now, if you don't do it right, it's going to give you, if you don't name the files right, it's going to give you an error. So if that doesn't make sense, please go back, watch how I named the files. Follow that specifically, please. I'm doing it to help you. I'm doing it also to help our support so they don't have to answer the same question a million times. Anyway, okay. Now, the file has been, the image files have been loaded up. So there is the reference, and you're probably wondering, why does it sound louder? Well, that's because we don't have the knob back up to 12 o'clock. And if you can see here, the knob is at 12 o'clock. So that's where it wants to be. Now, what we can do at this point is we can preview it by turning the volume up. Oh, go to the model, I'm sorry, go to the model. We can turn it up. We can also preview the gain. So hear what the gain structure sounds like. All right. If you want to, and here's a quick little tip, if you want to reset this to 12 o'clock, just double click on it. It goes right back up to 12. Okay, at this point now, we can create the deep image file. Okay, but there's one more thing you can do here. If you go to the right and you go to the EQ section, you can actually put an EQ on this pedal, on this deep image. Now, if you look at this pedal is only 2 knobs. It is level and it's drive. There's no EQ. But what if you wanted an EQ? Who's to say you can't have one? There we go. Who's to say you can't have one? Isn't that cool? That is really cool right there. And I did in fact create 2 variations of this deep image, one that has an EQ, one that doesn't, okay? But in this case, you can select that if you want or just bypass. But I'm gonna go ahead and just bypass it for now. I'm gonna click export and I am going to collect, I'm gonna say, I'm going to call it pedal image. I'm going to call it, actually, let me change that name. I'm going to call it deep pedal. When the computer's this far away from me, it's a little hard to do this. Anyway, there you have it. Okay, so I've now created the image. I'm going to go ahead and quit this app. And I'm going to go into the NUX app. And don't worry, I'm going to increase the size. We got plenty of room here. There we go. There we go. Now we got something that looks a little better, don't we? There, you can see the screen. How about that? No, I don't want you there. I want you here. Okay. So let's go over to a blank one real quick. So I'm just going to go and scroll up and I'm going to go to a user empty. All right, so I'm going to now go up to the image icon right here in the upper right corner. I'm going to go to a blank destination and I'm going to click on import. Now I'm going to go where I found that deep image. I'm going to bring it in. Okay, so now it's there, but I'm not hearing anything. Why am I not hearing anything? That's because I haven't created anything for it yet. All right, so let's go over here and let's bring up an amp. Now, for the sake of simplicity, I am going to bring up a modeled JC120. You're probably wondering why. Because I like to show a clean amp and what an overdrive pedal will do to the clean amp. It's no good to you if I rub overdrive into another overdrive. So let's keep it simple, right? The other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to change the, I'm actually going to go into the, yeah, there we go. I'm just changing the amp so that the proper impulse response comes up. Okay, now at this point, I'm ready to go. I'm going to go to the other, to the signal block to the left of the amp block, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to select another amp. But I'm now going to go down and I'm going to bring up my deep pedal, and there it is. And there you go. So now the pedal is there. So at that point, let me turn it off. There it is before. There it is after. All right, so if I do a little bit more to this, like let's say we go to, let's go and create a reverb, because you guys know I'm all about the verb. And I'm going to turn that decay and the level down so you can just hear a little spank from the reverb there. Now, if I make, let's go back to the deep image here. If I turn that gain down and I turn the volume up, I can almost use it as a boost. Bring it up, bring that gain stage up a little bit. Okay, that's almost a little too much there. Right, but you get the point, guys. So you're getting the point, right? The point is that I captured it 3 times. I captured the sample 3 times, the pedal in 3 different amplitude levels, or 3 different drive levels with the amplitude ratioed in. Then I created a deep image of that, and then I imported that into the 50Li to show you how easy that really is. Now, the thing to note, though, is that I did... by the way, what do you think of that? I haven't heard anybody say, whoa, man, that's cool, but it is cool. Keep this in mind when you're doing the imaging. The more samples you take of the pedal, the more accurate it's going to be. So that means that when you're doing the samples, when you're doing a real deep image, the best thing to do is start at a very low level. 1 image, 2 image, 3 image, 4 image, 5 image, 6 image, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You can have 11 images. You can capture 11 images and create 1 large deep image from that. And if you're wondering why you would do that, well, because when you're making gain stages, when you're making gain stage changes like this, and you're making those changes to the pedal, it's going to come really close. But because the AI and the black box algorithms are going to replicate that. However, it's not going to be 100%. It's going to be really close, but not quite there. That's why you do more imaging. The more imaging, the clearer the picture. Think about a picture. A picture, the higher the the higher the image file is, generally the better the resolution. That's kind of the same idea here. So how about that? So what does that sound like? Okay, well, I knew you'd ask that question. So let me go here and let's go to my file. Let's go to my preset that I created for this demo. Let me also turn it down a little bit. Okay, so you're hearing the pedal right now. Let's take a look at this preset so you can really understand what's going on here with this preset. So I have 2 scenes on this preset. The first scene has the pedal. So you're hearing, because we're using the send and return, which is right here. Okay, so that's the send and return. So the send and return is going to the Lounsbury pedal. The second scene has the deep image. So it takes a little adjustments between the two to get where you want it to be. So you might want to, for example, pull that gain back just a tad. But now if you A/B it against the original pedal, now that sounds a little boomy. That's because the drive needs to come, the drive needs to come back just a tad. And if you're hearing some construction sounds, it's because the guys that design sets across the way are cutting a lot of wood right now. There's before, or that's after. So here's before, after. So that's it. That's what I just did. I did a deep image of that pedal. I brought it into the 50Li, and I just showed you an exact A/B demo between the pedal, the actual pedal, and the image. And you can hardly hear a difference, if anything at all. But you can spice it up even more. So if you want to go in here and say, I don't want this version of the Lounsbury, I want the one that has the EQ. Well, I created one for that too. And look at that, I created a gain with a volume, the gain, the volume, but I also now have a bass and a treble. So I can even refine it even more. So let's say we want to go with, like, say, let's bring that gain back a little bit. Let's bring that bass back just a tad. Okay, so here's the first version. Here's the second version. Okay, so the volume needs to come back a tad. The gain needs to go up a bit. A little too much. Bring that volume back just a little bit more. And here we go. Before, after. Before, after. What I love about this particular pedal, the Lounsbury pedal, is that the whole idea of it is to really emulate the attack of your picking and to really complement that and give you something that gives you actual dynamics when you're listening back to it. And you'd be amazed with what you can get with a really well-made, gain-staged pedal like this one. But with the 50Li, you can actually bring that into the 50Li by way of a deep image. And that's what it's all about, guys. What do you think about that? What do you think about what I just did? Did that just blow your friggin' mind or what? Because I think that was, that thing, when I heard the actual example after I was done, when I first did this and earlier in the week, I was just utterly floored. I thought, wow, there's absolutely no way that is, that it could be that easy. And yet that is what it is. I mean, listen to that, you know? By the way, I'm using my Explorer today. I haven't used that one in a while. I wanted to kind of use that and get away from the 335. So what do you think? Isn't that amazing? Isn't that utterly amazing? I'm totally floored by that. Let me take my headphones off here for a second. I'm gonna throw my guitar up here. Now I promised my team that I'd keep these live streams to an hour because, well, what can I say? I just talk too much. So I can't help it. When you lead a company, these things happen. But in any case, that's what this is all about. So imaging is here. It is an amazing technology. I'm going to be doing the next live stream in a couple of weeks. And my plan is to do an amp, to show you how to do an amp. And I will have my load box in by then, and we'll choose an amp to create an image of. So I think I think this is just the beginning, because really when you think about it, what you could possibly do with imaging, it's just utterly amazing. It's so much fun. I haven't had this much fun with this whole technology until just now. This has just been a riot for me to check it out. I love it. Got to get my big dumb cup of water here. So let's take a look at some of the questions. So let me turn my computer a little bit over here. Okay, let me go and, okay, so somebody is asking, when is the Trident update? Okay, I do not have an answer for you on that yet. I know that's going to make you angry to hear that, but I don't have an answer yet. But I do know that there has been several requests for an update for the Trident, for NAM profiling specifically, and I don't have an answer for you on that yet, but we are trying to get one. So sorry for the delay in getting that. Okay, I love how people said I people actually showed up on the stream a little too early. This guy showed up at I think he showed up at 12:30 and saying, "Why is the stream not started yet?" Well, it's because it's supposed to start at 1. But hey, no problem. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. Okay. Let's go down. Okay. Okay, let me go ahead and talk about this. So the NAM2 firmware update. We are currently working on it right now. And it is working. I've actually installed the betas onto the three MGs back here, the 30, the 300 Mark II, and the 400. It is working, but it is still a little quirky. So we're just making sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's and make sure that we get it working as well as possible before we release it. And then the 50Li will follow shortly thereafter, and we'll also have, we'll be putting it into a couple of other products too. But believe me, I want it there as much as you guys do. So thank you very much for your continued patience on this. But I think we're adapting to that. We're adapting the platform and evolving for the platform as fast as humanly possible. I know we're all working incredibly hard over there in China at the moment. The team is on the development team. Okay. All right. Well, this is a good question. Can you start from scratch and how you were connecting? That's a really good question, and I think it'd be a good idea to answer that question here in the live stream. So we're going to do something a little funny here. I'm going to take my camera off of the stand here. So if you get motion sickness, stand back from the TV for a second, or from your computer, so that I can show you what we are doing. Okay, so starting over here, we've got the guitar input. So I'm using a C5RC for my wireless. I'll even go ahead and just turn that off since we're done with the demo for today. Okay, and I'll go ahead and mute that channel. Now, what I have back here is I have the send and the return. So the send is on top. The send is being routed to the input of the pedal. The output of the pedal is then being routed back to the return. That's all there is to it. And then the rest of it is quite simple. This is the left and right output for the 1/4-inch output that's going to my mixing board, and there's nothing else except a USB cable, of course, going off to my computer. But aside from that, that is all that it's involved in doing. So I hope that helps you out a little bit. But that's really all there is as far as how to route for capturing a pedal. Now, when it comes to an amp, that's a little more complicated, and thankfully, when you look at the image app, like I'll go ahead and quit the NUX, the 50Li app there, and I'll go to image again, and you can see that a diagram has been created here for you. So you can go back and just go to here, and you can see that you need the amp to go to the load box, and then it is also being fed to the send and return, just in the same fashion as I did with the pedal. Exact same setup. But you do need to, of course, be mindful of your volume levels, okay? This is digital technology, everybody. So if you reef it really hard, you'll get nothing but distortion, and that's probably what you would rather not get. So thank you for that question. That was a good one. Okay, here we go. So does this process interpolate between 6 images to create one smooth sweep through, or is it basically a 6-step run through the range? Okay, it's actually a marriage. And this is as I understand it. Now, again, I'm not a programmer, but when I talk to my team, this is how I understand it. It's a marriage of both. So you're dropping those samples in along the deep image loader. at that time, the black box modeling algorithms, and it is powered by AI, creates that clean crossover between the images. The images are reference points of the samples for the amplitude, or in the case of what we did here, the gain. And it created an image based off, a deep image based off of that. Whereas I turn the gain up on the preamp pedal, if I do the same thing with the deep image, it's emulating every step of the way because I've made more precise samples of the gain staging of the pedal when I imaged it that way. So the AI and the black box modeling algorithms take it from there, they create the crossover points, and they make it a very nice smooth transition. That's why you want as many samples as possible so that you can make it as accurate as possible. Otherwise it'll sound good, it just won't be, it'll be like a Xerox copy, you know, and you probably want something that's a little more close to the real deal. Hopefully that helps. Okay, is there a Windows? Okay, well I did answer this one, and in fact, somebody in our channel actually answered that from the NUX audio channel. So yes, you can get the software version there. Okay, another question about NAM2, when that update's expected. I already answered that one. Let's see, loading screens. Do you need to have the physical? Oh, okay, here's a good one. Do you need to have the physical pedal to deep image? Yes, you do. You do. That's just as simple as I can make it. Same thing goes with the amp. You need the actual amp in order to deep image it. Or, you know, there is another thing you could possibly do. Well, no, you need the image. You need the image. Yeah, you need the actual product to create that. Yeah, I don't want to BS you on that one, but that is what you need. Hope that helps. At the moment, the 50Li is hard to get in Germany. It'll probably take another 2 weeks. Yes. Yeah, what? Let me tell you, I'm sure that over there in the factory, there's a picture of me on the wall that's being used as a dartboard because I am harassing the hell out of the production team to kick out as many of those suckers as I can. I can tell you right now that we are actually we're working at max capacity at the moment, and we are punching out anywhere between, I believe, 100 to 150 units per week of the 50Li. And that's our max capacity, along with all of the other things we have under production. So it's a concurrent structure that we're actually building another factory specifically for that. So I've been to the factory in Zhuhai, and as I understand it, I think we broke ground across the street from where our factory currently is, and that's where I believe we're putting the new factory. But we are, in fact, putting in another factory so that we can meet demand, because the demand for this product is just absolutely out of control. I'm astonished, and I couldn't be prouder of the company for what they've accomplished. This is a hell of a product, and I've known about it for probably like 3 years now at this point. We've been talking about the 50Li. Well, back then it was just simply called the MG50. Li was not part of the equation back then, and I didn't know it at that point, and that it was going to have a battery. And I'm just so utterly astonished, and I'm so surprised and proud of what a great product this is. So please be patient. We are getting them out as fast as humanly possible. We, in fact, just got our units here in the United States today. They just arrived today, in fact, and we're getting them out to the dealers that ordered them. So if you ordered it from your local domestic dealer here in the United States, like Sweetwater Guitar Center, AMS Zounds, or maybe one of your local mom and pop retail shops across the country, just know we are getting them out as fast as humanly possible. So thank you in advance for your patience. Okay. Let's see what this question is. Okay, can we make image of digital pedals from different softwares I've purchased earlier? Not that I'm aware of right now. And I'll just preface this by saying, keyword, not right now. I know we've been talking about a few things, but nothing I can talk about publicly right now. But I would like to see something like that happen. I can't lie about that. Let's keep going down the list here. Okay. Okay. Greetings, tiny crowd. I have an MG30, which I love. I'm considering an upgrade. Well, we're here. If you want to upgrade, we're happy to help you. We're trying to design an upgrade program actually for the users of the MG30. We just don't have enough to supply yet, is the problem. So once we get our next batch, which will be at the end of next month, we should have another batch coming in and then another batch coming in shortly after that. At that point, we'll be able to start doing the upgrades directly to our customers. But other than that, you can probably talk to your favorite retailer, and maybe they'll give you a little bit of a sweetheart deal there. But it's a lot of fun. Here we go. Can you deep-image guitar? How about the guitar player? That's a good one. No, you can't deep image a guitar. You can do on an acoustic guitar, you can do an impulse response of it. And of the guitar players, well, aren't there enough carbon copies of the players out there already? I mean, how many guys that need to play Eddie Van Halen licks, right? I myself, I'm just trying to look for, other forms of music that I'd like to, maybe play a little bit more in depth with and try, but to try to get my own sound. But that's the beauty of all this technology, is you can mold your sound any way you want to. So thank you for the question. Okay, still going down. We can take a photo. Oh, that's all right, guys. We can take a photo of a guitar and a guitar player. Yeah, we can do that. We have that technology. All right, now this is a really good question here. Let's show this one. Which types of pedals are supported and which aren't? Fuzz, overdrive, booster, delay, reverb probably aren't. Delay and reverb are not yet. That is absolutely correct. Fuzz pedals, we've gotten mixed results with fuzz pedals right now, so we're not quite there. So the pedals that you can start imaging right now would be overdrives, distortions, boosts. Those would be the three I would stick with. Thank you for that question. I've committed to the old world of analog, but this is brilliant. The engineers on this killed the imaging quality. I could not agree with you more. I love analog too, man. I've been watching a lot of the videos on YouTube about creating lo-fi music with handheld tape recorders. And I think it's just wild that people are coming up with that stuff. When somebody showed me a few years, like say 10 years ago, they showed me albums, well-known artists were coming out with promotional cassette tapes of their new records. I was like, oh my God, we're going back in time to cassettes. That they sounded like crap, but I mean, I love a reel-to-reel, but a reel-to-reel is not a cassette tape. I grew up on the old Porta Studios myself, and I had a Fostex R8 reel-to-reel, which was really nice. But I do love that sound. But yeah, the modeling, the imaging is just getting better and better and better as every day goes by. Okay, trying to get there. Okay. I saw earlier that Zounds has some in stock. They don't have any in stock yet. We haven't shipped anything to them yet. I'm no, because I'm the person that helps with that along with my admin. We haven't shipped anything to them yet because it literally arrived today. But it will be there, and we're shipping them to all four of their warehouses. So if you put your pre-order in, you're going to be in good shape. Okay. I don't know if the... Oh, okay, here we go. Okay. My... how is the pedal... how's the guitar pedal connected to the 50Li? I showed that already, but I just, really quickly, I'm using the send and return. There's two sends and returns on the 50Li. Those sends and returns are then being routed to the input and the output of the pedal. And then you just need to go into the unit here and create a send and return signal block, turn it on, and there you have it. That's all there is to it. Quite simple. Okay, how to enable scene 3. I know it's out of context, but it would be really helpful. Yeah, no, I'm happy to show you that. That's easy. We'll go here. We'll do it from here. I'll go ahead and do it from the app. So let me just load up the app real quick. It's actually not that hard at all. All right, there we are. Let's bring that over a little bit. Okay. Settings. Other, scene 3. Off, on. That's all there is to it. Okay, if you want to do that from, now if you want to do that from the, if you want to do that from the 50Li itself, let me, sorry, I don't mean to do that, but okay, go over here to the settings button here, okay, and then go over to other, use the rotary encoder here to go over to other, and it's right there. And you just turn, and then you just use the first rotary encoder to turn that off and on. That's all there is to it. So thanks for that question. Let's see if there's anybody else. Could you show us a wah pedal in action? You mean like you want to see what it looks like or what it sounds like? I mean, I can certainly turn one on. I can go ahead and give that a shot if you want, just very quickly here. So let me go and get my my guitar back here. I can't play it like I would play a wah pedal right now because it's on my desktop here. But you know, I know this is the silliest guitar strap for somebody like me to have, but this is a really cool guy I know in LA that makes leather outfits for all the big artists, called Albane for Leather, and this is one of his straps. Okay, so let's go back here, and actually what we need to do first is we need to create a wah effect here. So we go to the signal block and we go to wah, and we just choose the wah that we want. So we got a Clyde, we got a Crybaby, the Vox, we got a Bad Horsey. I happen to like the Bad Horsey myself. And now it sounds like total garbage, and the reason being is because it needs to go to the front of the signal path. So if we look down at the pedal itself here, the 50Li, you can see that the blue settings light is on, meaning that the pedal is on. So and that's really all there is to it. You can also go and select something different if you want. You could do, let's see, we could change that to an octave shift, and that's kind of fun. So that'll get you into trouble. All right, let's see. Okay, here are the amps and the effects actually the same as the MG30, or are they new? Well, there's a yes and no answer to that question. The MG30 has the 2K modeling algorithm built into it, whereas for the audio, whereas the audio resolution or the engine that's driving the 50Li is 4K audio. So there is going to be an audible difference between the two. Yes. As far as the effects go, most of the effects are the same, it is the same, but again, it will sound different because it's a different audio engine. So I hope that answers your question. All right, cool. Well, at this point now, we're not really getting many more questions, and I think I've kind of answered it all there, and I'm trying to keep everybody happy and keep us to an hour, which we've only gone over by a minute or two. So Pardon me. So in any case, I hope that this was an informative live stream for you. Be sure to stay tuned to the NUX Audio YouTube channel and of course to all of our social media. If you have any further questions, go ahead and throw them out here and I will download them in a couple of minutes here and we'll try to answer some of those in maybe a future video tutorial. So I hope you enjoyed this, guys. If there's a topic that you want to see us do, just stay tuned to us on social media. NUX USA is our domestic social media. You can go there on Facebook. You can go to the Instagram one as well, and you can ask any questions you want. And if it's a topic that I think we should discuss in a live stream, then we'll do it. But the next one is going to be on how to image an amp. So I hope you will join me in a couple of weeks when we cover that particular topic. So until then, have a great rest of your Friday, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you very, very much.